Hi, friends. I don't know if I can quite articulate what I want to very well. I'll try. Just thinking about this whole deceptive false flag event and psychological operation that we've been undergoing for, I don't know, is it call it early March, April, May, June, July, so a little over, or well, maybe just short of 5 months, because it was March 13th when Mr. Trumpmeister declared all 50 states a federal disaster zone or area, hence basically opening the door and the floodgates for the World Health Organization, one of the most despicable organizations in the world, and open the door for them and Bill Gates, who basically runs the WHO, tells them what to do, and of course the CDC, and and for all the governors to issue these mandates, which are likely not legal, but I'm no constitutional attorney, so I don't know that. I'm sure it's complicated. But I think the thing that makes me angry is, Americans, well, everybody I know, I have friends all over the world through Facebook and my photo site, and it's been a wonderful experience for me to meet people from all over the world: India, Colombia, Venezuela, Ecuador, Indonesia, China, on and on it goes. Russia, not very many European countries. They, I don't know if my stuff, if they censor it or what, but I get very little feedback on my photo site from the European countries. But I've been saying for a long time that Europe is basically godless. It has been for a long. Well, I mean, they're anyway. Can't get into that. So, but so what I was going to say is that so every country has people that are like patriotic. I mean, my friends in Venezuela, they love their country probably more than we love our country, if that's possible. But I think what I'm trying to say, and I hope I can just say it in a few words, is that what angers me is that these people, again, it's the World Health Organization / UN, and Bill Gates. I mean, you got to keep going to Bill Gates. He is the epicenter of this entire thing. I mean, still, he's on TV saying what we can do and what we can't do, and yet we accept this just like, oh, okay, yes, Mr. Gates. Yeah, you made a computer that sold a lot, you made a lot of money, and it always had viruses, and yeah, and the flu vaccine efficacy in the last 5 years has been 34.8%. Yes, Mr. Gates, we're really looking forward to your vaccine. I mean, people just, whatever Bill Gates says, it's amazing. Obviously, there are people like me that challenge his narrative, but basically, it's like he's like the world spokesman for all things Corona. It is just absolutely, if it weren't so serious and the implications so serious, it would be laughable beyond belief that this guy literally, he's more powerful than the Pope. He pontificates in the world. It's just unbelievable. So anyway, but what angers me, I'll finally get to what I'm trying to say, is that like in America, I can only speak for my country, is that I know a lot of people that do love this country, and for very good reasons. I'm just talking about the upside of this country, not the downside. And I'm talking about the people of this country. I'm not talking about our government, our federal government especially, but I'm talking about the people, the people that work, raise families, and just continue. They keep on keeping on. Those people, they're very trusting and believing, and sadly, they extend that to trusting, like the government and the mainstream media. They work together. They just are too trusting in their when they're in their assessments. They just don't quite see that basically they're organs of propaganda, taken advantage of by people who have no intention of telling us the truth. They're basically, going to end up, we're going to be in the period, Revelation quite soon, Revelation 12, 13, and then things are really going to get bad all over the world, not just the United States. But Trump said when this Corona thing was taken off, well, there's going to be a lot of death. He said it like 3 times. There's going to be a lot of death. There's going to be a lot of death. I think he was talking about like the next 2 weeks, And so what I'm saying, echoing Trump, yeah, there's going to be a lot of death, but you know what? It's going to be people that believe that the government really had their best interest at heart with all these draconian laws and lockdowns and everything else. And what makes me sad and sick, and ultimately it does come down to us. I mean, the Bible so much talks about don't be deceived, don't, Jesus, don't, follow wolves in sheep's clothing. You gotta pay attention. I mean, so on one hand, we kind of deserve to have the wool, no pun intended, pulled over our eyes, because we're, trust can give way to gullibility, or maybe I'm trying to say there's a fine line between trust and gullibility, But I do know many American people that are, and I'm not even speaking to their salvation of their souls, but just that they are willing to make sacrifices, for a greater good and a greater cause. That kind of is, we're a very generous people. And that is the American zeitgeist right there. And it can be taken advantage of. And it's just like, it's like I said, when you like Jesus said, if you mess with these children, he said it's better that you were born with a millstone around your neck. And I sort of feel like that with all these health authorities, the federal government, the mainstream media lying through their teeth to us every day, I sort of feel like that, saying that thing that Jesus said about, if you mess with these kids, you'd be better off if you wore the millstone around your neck. And I mean, feel like, you mess with these hard-working families that are struggling to make it, because it is a tough world out there. I don't have children, but I know I see the sacrifice that these people make, and it's just tremendous. And they'll do anything, and they'll start to cry here, but they'll do anything for their kids, their family. A lot of them, are members of churches. Americans, by and large, will definitely make the sacrifices for others, and their generosity, I think, even statistically, is unmatched in all the world. And so that's the America I love. And that America has been usurped. And yes, all you Trump supporters, all you good people that I was just talking about, a lot of you supporting Trump, this man did not show leadership. He let these people in the door, and he hasn't, shoot them out of the house. Like I wrote the other day, I said, I'll tell you what, you let me be leader for a day of this country, and you take me back to March when the WHO makes their pronunciation, and I'm going to get up in the pulpit and say, okay, we'll take a look at what they're saying, we'll see what the trend lines are, I'm not declaring a 50-state disaster zone at this point whatsoever. We're going to get the best data we can from local sources, from honest sources. We're not going to go to NBC, CBS, and Fox and CNN for our information. We're going to talk to doctors and just run-of-the-mill people. What's going on in your community? We're going to do that, and I'm not letting the WHO, they're not even going to get to ring the doorbell, quite frankly. That's what I would have done had I been leader. Would I fail in other ways? I'm sure I would. But the gist of this whole thing is that we have what literally is the United Nations of America, and the groups that I talk about, and the one person, well, in Fauci, I'd have to put right up there with Gates. So 2 people, 3 entities, CDC, the WHO, and the United Nations. They literally are dictating to us how we live and run our lives, not just in America, but all over the world. And that should just, like, anybody that has, like, a pea-sized brain that engages it should be able to just see this. I mean, this isn't geopolitics at a PhD level. Okay, wake up. I mean, seriously, and all you educated people, I have found the people that are the hardest to reach. Goes back to the Twain quote. He said, it's a lot easier to fool people than it is to convince them they've been fooled. But I've talked to these, doctors and educated people, successful business people, and they're on board with this whole thing, with this whole UN takeover of this country. And I can only chalk that up to, and I mentioned this in a video the other day, that when Paul, I call it the Thessalonian delusion. In Thessalonians, Paul said that God would literally put a delusion on those who refuse to receive the love of the truth. What else can explain it? Because this is not a intellectual horsepower issue. This is not, I don't have a PhD in political science, so I know this is too complicated for me. It's not complicated at all. We know who's running the world. We know who's running America. And like I said, welcome to the United Nations of America. And there hasn't been a leader. I mean, certainly Trump has laid down for the whole total onslaught. Call it the rape of Dan King, or the rape of our rights. It is just absolutely incredible. And then, of course, I end with saying we are very close to the return of Jesus Christ. I've been looking at this stuff for 34 years, and the prophecies now, the last ones remaining to be fulfilled, are in our face. You study this a little bit, read your book, read the Bible. It's all right in front of you, friend. Steve from South Dakota, coming at you with another axe to grind. Have a good one.